My digital learner presentation. So I grew up as a digital native. If you go by the readings that we read for Module 1, I was born in 1994, so that puts me in the digital native category. However, the technology that we had back when I was growing up was very different than what it is today. I grew up in the era of flip phones, Nintendo GameCubes were starting to come out, the DSs were starting to come out, and the Nintendo Wii's were coming out. When I was in about elementary school, middle to late elementary school, Google started becoming popular. We started using it more when I was in middle school, and by the time I was in high school, it was a very popular use to um, gain new information. Um, I grew up in Great Falls, Montana, which is where I live currently. It's a smaller district. We have 15 elementary schools. Our technology is pretty limited. We have computer labs, and when I was in middle school, they started doing trials to see if having Chromebook carts was a good fit for our district, and they have. And so now they are slowly integrating Chromebook carts into our elementary schools. They're in all of our middle and high schools at this point. So as I mentioned before, now I still teach in Great Falls Public Schools. I'm a kindergarten teacher, and they have recently decided that they are not going to give kindergarten and first grade classrooms in our district Chromebook carts like they have for 2 through 6. Um, so instead, they gave each of us a Promethean active board, and then we still have our computer lab, which has about 30 computers in it that sometimes work and sometimes don't. Um, but that's what we have for technology, and then we have, like, depending on the classroom, 2 or 3 desktop computers for our kids to use. Starting this summer or this fall, I will be moving to Houston, which I'm hoping, being a bigger district and having more technology access, I will have more technology in my classroom to use with my kids. My learning style has varied. I had a pretty tough time in elementary school as a kid. I discovered that for very concrete subjects such as math and um, science and those kinds of subjects, I'm a very visual learner. I have to see it done in front of me for it to understand, for my brain to understand it and process it. For lecturing topics in colleges where I saw this the most, I did a lot better in lectures halls where the lecturer had the presentation slides but left it up there long enough that I could take notes as they were talking, was the best way that I was able to gain the information. They did suspect that I had some sort of a reading disability in elementary school, but it was never diagnosed. I can't visualize when I read, which makes reading kind of difficult. It also makes reading hard for me to teach to my kids, and comprehension is not a strong point of mine. Um, So, goals for myself throughout this course, I want to understand how all of my kids learn differently. Granted, it is the end of the year. Um, Kindergarten is very different because they are just starting out, um, but really learning how I can help and what tools will benefit um, my little guys better. I also want to understand more about my own learning style so that I can go forth and use that to not only help myself but also help my students.